So I'm just going to quickly draw a pentagram. Pretty easy. You got the Vesica, Ra Ra Ra, the main circle, just to get your points. And then there's 3 expanding circles to get the base of the star. See the ring magnet again, actually. Here's your ring magnet. So the pentagram, it represents Venus, and it represents man as the microcosm of the universe. We are a microcosm of the universe. And if we view this as the sacred circle, north, east, south, west, we have the moon, we have the mind over near the head. We have on this hand the fire, which is the masculine. Oh yeah, sorry, this is just the geostationary orbits of Venus. That's what Venus looks like over a period of years, and this is all geostationary around the Earth. We've got a globe Earth in there, but you can clearly see it's going over a disk. More sacred geometry, all going on stacked above each other to the golden ratio. That's where all your music comes from. So there's the pentagram. You've got your feet on the earth, the feminine water, the masculine fire, the air, and the moon, your mind. We're looking with goodness. We're looking at higher things. This represents the divine beings, the divine nature. We have Taurus and Aries over here. The power of man is the bull. We have Virgo over here, the virgin, the precision, the water, the female, moon in the head, and the earth below, because we get everything from the earth. You've also got the zodiac signs going around, the 5 elements, the 5 senses. It's all these elements and zodiac signs and planets are creating the organs. Saturn would be down here. Moon, mind here. You know, you got fire, you got force. This is your right hand. That's why everyone's dominantly right-handed. It's man or woman, man and women, created in the image of God. This is the divine beings. The divine, the godly, they're just naturally good people. The head is in higher things, and they're trying to do good in the world. Divine beings. So that's just the microcosm of man within the 666, guarding the flower of life. Again, you've got the houses, conscious, subconscious. So here you've got Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer going around. And like I said, these stars, zodiac signs, and planets and 5 elements are what's creating everything. There's nothing more than that, other than the Jiva and the Super Soul, which aren't material. The whole material ingredients are the 5 elements, the 12 zodiac signs, the 9 planets. That's it. The whole thing's made of that. So these are the divine beings. This is how we understand divine consciousness, and we understand how all the sciences from this. Alchemy comes from this, therefore chemistry, physics, biology, everything comes out of this. This is the key to understanding the human being. And the psychology is these guys are the divine. They're represented by Venus. But Krishna just doesn't create divine beings, he also creates demoniac beings. And these guys are an inversion of the pentagram, representing the Eliphas Levi's goat of Mendes. You're facing down, they have the head in the earth, materialistic, not concerned about God. They are God. So this is the demoniac nature with the head in the earth. You're down here, you've got Capricorn, which is the goat of Mendes, which is Baphomet. Satan, they're worshipping Saturn. Satan is actually the crown chakra, and the god of men is, but the inversion, the demoniac nature, can be understood from this, from its placements within the houses, and I'll explain that. So I think I just wrote down there Saturn and Capricorn. I've missed it off. I didn't realise it was, the camera wasn't lined up. And death, the worshipping death, the lord of death, the southern path. The divine worship the northern path, birth, growth, God. So what am I doing over here? Over here we have Pisces on their, whichever hand it is, in their hand they have Pisces. So they do have the spiritual knowledge. They do have the sacred knowledge. These occultists, these Freemasons, these Zionists, these Jesuits, these Knights of Malta, Knights Templar. They have sacred knowledge. They do. And a lot of it is based on Christianity. It's encoded within the Bible. So this whole Pisces here, which is the 12th house, is very connected to Indra. Indra being the king of heaven. You've got Aries over here being the Lamb of God. You've got Pisces here being the symbol of Christianity. And you also have the sun. Comes around. Actually, the sun dies in Capricorn and he gets resurrected in Aries. But anyway, I'm not saying Jesus doesn't exist, but there's a lot of it incorporated into this. So they're getting their knowledge from the scriptures, and not just the Bible. They're getting it from everywhere, because this is all Vedic ultimately, where these come from. It's coming from the head of Anantashesh. Anantashesh is the ether. So over here we have Scorpio. The other hand they have Scorpio, which is the house of the occult, the house of hidden things. The secrecy, scorpion tail, also the Ouroboros snake eating itself, the 666. So the Scorpio is the intelligence agencies, the all this hidden knowledge, all this intelligence, secret service, also the military industrial complex. So we have the British Secret Service, we have the MI5, we have the MI6, British Secret Service, you have the American Secret Service, CIA, all these dudes. The Zionists is the Mossad, Israeli intelligence, and you have the Vatican, which their intelligence agency is called the Entity. Nice bunch of guys these are. The Secret Service of the Vatican is called the Entity. I can't remember what it is in Latin, but it actually means the entity. So this all comes from the Scorpio 8th house energy, and they have their hand in that. So now I'm drawing the pentagon, just joining up the points of the star. Obviously the pentagon is the center of the military industrial complex. It's all based around the pentagram, this pentagram. Head in the earth, one hand in the scriptures, the other hand in the occult knowledge. But this occult stuff, depending how demoniac you actually are, this is when it starts getting into child sacrifice, child prostitution. You got to remember, all these intelligence agencies are actually running the child prostitution rings for the elite. So you've got Rahu over here, which is the black sun, which is all these things, child prostitution, blood sacrifice, human sacrifice, death, war, all these pentagram, inverted pentagram energies. You see the 666 showing up in movies, the 33, which I'll do in another video, is always coming up in movies. In the music industry, they're throwing these 666s all the time. So does NASA. There's Freemasonry written all over what NASA does. Anyway, so over here we have Gemini, 1 foot. This is the magician. This is the duality, the sort of the two faces. This represents the politicians and the government who says one thing and does another. Or the magician showing a distraction while he's actually doing something, which creates the magic. So it's dishonest. You know, it's a very dishonest energy presenting one thing, bait and switch, distraction, etc. So that's Gemini. That's a lot to do with the, if you understand Freemasonry, they have a ritual where they actually have one of their trousers legs rolled up. This is all about the secrecy and the duplicity. They're sort of showing, look, I have nothing to hide on my bare leg, you can see. Whereas actually what they're actually doing, they have their teaching strapped to their leg that's covered over. So by showing you the empty leg, saying, look, I've got nothing to hide, on this other foot, they're actually hiding all their teachings, all their hidden knowledge strapped to their other leg. So that's where this sort of Freemasonry ritual comes from. And it's the demoniac nature, just like I showed the other one. It's a divine nature. It's built into the universe, these two natures. So we have Leo, the 5th house, which is pretty interesting. Back to the triangle and the sun worship and the all-seeing eye. It all comes from this sacred circle, which the sun is doing. Sacred circle. Where was I? So over in Leo, and this is where the guys are hiding their knowledge, where they get their knowledge from. They get it from the sun, the sacred circle. So I'm going to do a whole video on the 4 orders and how this globe deception is going on. But I just had to do the divine and demoniac natures to understand the pentagram and explain the just the whole vibe of the occultists, just how these occultists work, this demoniac nature works. But ultimately it's all resting on the head of Anantashesh. 3 modes of material nature, 12 zodiac signs, 5 elements, 9 planets, all creating the whole thing. And this is Manasatara, and it's also our equator, because we have our own personal covering. Some ether bending going on. Remember, is the all-seeing eye. He sees everything everywhere. So when Manasatara, when the sun is going around Manasatara, Anantashesh sees it all. It's all coming from the perspective of Mount Meru. So when we see the universe, we see it scaled down to, you know, all conforming to the golden ratio, all based from the North Pole, which is the Marudanda for us. Anyway, Sacred Snake, Ouroboros, Anantashesh, all conforming to the flower of life, the seed of life, guarded by the snake of life, all conforming to the Srimad Bhagavatam descriptions of the movements of the sun, the planets, the stars. It's all here, even unpacking the whole Illuminati Freemason connection, because these guys know this knowledge. Just keeping it from us. Okay, so following on, let's have a look, see if we can find any evidence of this in reality, in the real world. Right, so we're in Canberra now. This is the center of Canberra. Straight away we can see the hexagram, the hexagon. Here we've got 6 triangles, 666. You need the 666 to create the hexagon. This would be intersecting circles. This would be the greater circle, and then they've done the intersecting circles to create this flower of life, surrounded by the hexagon. This is north. North is up here, south down here. You've got 12 clusters of trees, symbolizing the 12 signs of the zodiac. You also got a monument in Gemini, and I'll get to that in a minute. But you've got Aries here, Taurus here, Gemini, Cancer, with this being the north, this being the south, this being a Capricorn. So let's look on the southern path, the Capricorn, Saturn. We got Parliament House, the centre, the control centre of Australia, Capitol Hill. All built to golden ratio. I mean, we know a Freemason designed it. What's he called? This guy. Walter Burley Griffin. He's the Freemason that designed Canberra. So, pyramid on top, pyramid hidden behind. This is the government house. This is where the government, the centre of power, rules from. And it's running through a triangle. This is the sun. This is the power triangle. 12 sides of the zodiac, 3 modes of the sun, 3 circles of the sun, equator, Cancer and Capricorn, and the 4 elements. 12, actually, the 4 times the 12, the 48 is important too, but I'll get to that in a bit. So a pyramid at the centre of the power, the government power of Australia is based on a triangle. So I'm going to go northeast now, because it looks like this is all connected. Right, we got ourselves a inverted pentagon. It's a defense building, just look like I've been saying about the inverted pentagram nature. It's the defense, it's the Scorpio, it's the intelligence, it's also the Earth, the Saturn, the war machine. It's all run from the Pentagon. All the intelligence is centered and is represented by this. So another all-seeing eye. We've got over here, we've got another Vesica. This is the seed of life, also the Pisces. I'll get to that in a minute, but they're the intersecting circles that start creating the flower of life. The first intersection is a Vesica, which is the seed of life. All-seeing eye, 3 modes of the sun, 5-sided buildings, 5-sided road structure. The whole city is based, this whole area is based on an inverted pentagram, and it's a defense quarter. So we're going to go back this way because it looks like it's joining up. I guess it's going to be some kind of triangle. Yeah, well, we got back to the city hill. Marudanda, the Ionic obelisk, 4-sided with a pyramid on top. That is what's creating the Ionic center. And like I said before, this is if north is up, over in Gemini, another pentagram. So this knowledge is very, very important. They're building it into the cities. They're putting it into the buildings. Canberra, the all-seeing eye of Canberra. Now I'm just going to jump to a few other examples. So that's Canberra. I'm going to go straight to India because India is amazing. India is basically the Star of the Devas, the 666. You got here the 666, 666 up here, the all-seeing eye. They're actually following the northern path. This is interesting. Well, that's where the all-seeing eye is. You've got the Prime Minister living here, the President, however it works in India. Over here, the Parliament, over here. This is what I've just been drawing. You put a hexagon around that, put some lines in here, and you've got the cube. So let's have a look at the Ionic center of India. This is Delhi, this is New Delhi, this is the control center of India. Let's look right in the center of that. We got a 666, and it's called Windsor Place. They own the inner circle. The Queen still owns India, though it's all run covertly now. You got your 666 hexagon. They're all over the place. Where's the defense? There's the defense, which is actually 3 triangles, based around 5 though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that is actually the defense, which is just out on this circle. So that's India, all conforming to what I've just said, all built by Freemasons. So these guys know this knowledge. Is the Vatican, 666, Northern Path, Southern Path. Though this was done in a different age, so they had a different understanding, but they're still using the same energies, because there's the Pentagon, the Pentagram. Vatican City, 2nd century. This knowledge is ancient, and it's all based on the circle, understanding the world and the universe as a circle, not as a globe. It's the sacred circle. 12 planets, 12 zodiac signs, 9 planets, 5 elements. So that's the Vatican. So go over to America. Well, we obviously got the Pentagon, the head of the intelligence agency, the defense, military-industrial complex, inverted pentagram. Leading us to... There's a few to get through here, but I'm just going to show... I just don't want the video to be too long, otherwise nobody watches it. Anyway, we have the White House here. Ellipse Park, representing the ellipse, the sacred circle. Then we have the Vesica, the 2 circles, creating the seed of life, actually the all-seeing eye. This is the symbol for the all-seeing eye, which is originally a Christian symbol. Before the cross, which is another sacred circle, pagan understanding, or it's even Vedic, because the 4 directions is the cross, which has become the Christian symbol now. It used to be the Vesica, the all-seeing eye, the Pisces, the Vesica. What else we got? We got Congress up here, which is an owl, which is the wisdom, the knowledge, all contained in Congress. All symbolic. There's nothing accidental. Everything's encoded in what they're doing. Lincoln Memorial, and I was going to show just Jefferson Memorial, because it's actually a Knights Templar temple. Check this out yourself though. Vesica, Pentagram, Sacred Owl, which is the 666. You got the Smithsonian all over this place. These are the guys, these are all Freemasons, creating a history narrative, false history narrative. So that's America. Then we got England. This is what I consider to be the power triangle in England. We got over here, we got MI6, 666, the MI6, the secret intelligence services. These guys are hiding all this. That's their main job. Keep us stupid, keep us dumb, keep us controlled. Obviously leads to the all-seeing eye, the Buckingham Palace triangle. And the other connection in this triangle is the Knights Templar. This is the 12th century Knights Templar Church. It used to be the treasury of the king. These guys run the show. Or should I say, these guys are the inverted pentagram worshippers. These guys are the occultists. This is where all the occult Freemasonry knowledge has come from. These guys are the keepers of the Holy Grail. Well, they're actually hiding the Holy Grail, which is the flower of life, which is Bhu-mandala. Grail means, in ancient Greek, dish. So the Holy Grail is the holy dish, the sacred dish, the sacred disc, the sacred circle. That's what all these guys are hiding the Holy Grail, which is the flat circular earth. Within here you've got MI5s here, five-sided building, security services, obviously House of Parliament, Big Ben being the obelisk, the four-sided with a triangle on top obelisk. The centre of all this is actually Parliament Square, so it's all been run from here. The centre of that triangle. What more do we want? So the three modes of the sun. That's where the English Royal Arms come from. It's the three lions, it's the three Leos, the three orbits of the sun, the three sacred circles. This is what this represents. They adopted that in the 12th century. That's when these guys were running the show. The Templars, the Knights Templar, the Freemasons. And not that all Freemasons are bad. In general, they're probably all good. But you have these elite rulers that just the power just keeps passed down to them. They've created these power structures, and they're just running the whole show through these power triangles, actually, through these ionic statements that they build into the city or into their area and create this. Well, this creates England. So everybody knew this. Everybody knew this knowledge in the past. There's a lot of people going on about star thoughts at the moment, but I don't think they actually understand the origin. And it's all about the pentagram, the Venus from the sacred circle, creating all knowledge about man. And also the 666 is a sacred circle of geometry, maths, music, whatever else is in there. It all comes from the sacred circle, all knowledge. And if this is pointing north, then these are the divine beings. They're worshipping the pentagram in the right way up. They're understanding the divine path. But now all these modern understanding, it's all inverted pentagram. It's becoming more demoniac, it's becoming more evil, it's becoming more messed up. And that's how the world's becoming, all this terrorism and war. It's all coming from these guys. Freemasons, Templars, the occultists. Full occult control over the whole world. So, this is also how the universe is functioning. They know this. Just like I showed in the last video, I drew it all out with the flow of life. This is how it's functioning. You have Tropic of Cancer here, Equator, Tropic of Capricorn, North Pole, South Pole. Creating these small ionic universes based on the real universe. So this has to be very, very important information for them to encode it into the cities. It's encoded into the cities. Anyway, that's the old Sinai Canberra, the 666. And the 555, the inverted pentagram. Full occult rule.